Hi, I'm Lucien, the designer for Eden Left Behind, a narrative mech exploration TTRPG. I've been working on some systems designed to lighten the prep load for GMs. Primarily three things: planet generation, mission generation, and map generation. Today, I'm going to go through the process of making a full adventure from scratch using these generation methods. I'll be making a planet mission, as well as a sunflower station mission, showing how you can easily prepare either before or during a session. So without any delay, let's start with generating a planet. First, we roll on the biomes. We'll roll until the biome variation sounds satisfying. So we roll a d3 for 10s and a d6 for 1s on the biome table. 16. Desert. Let's go ahead and roll one more time to make it a bit more interesting. 25. Fungal. So I'm imagining a desert with pockets of mushroom forests where concentrations of life would be. Bioluminescent mushroom trees creating glowing forests at nighttime. Maybe there might be stuff like spore storms, seasonal gusts of spores that blast over the landscape. Probably pretty bad to breathe in. Alright, now onto malfunctions. The way terraforming works in Eden's setting is through something called the Terra Seeds. The SEI, Solar Expansionist Initiative, plants these biomechanical seeds into the core of planets. They then vibrate at faster than light speeds, changing the environment to an attempt at paradise. The Terra Seeds were created for use with Earth, so unfortunately, they cause anomalies and oddities on the planets. Things as simple as weird colors to drastic changes in gravity or seas of blood. Let's roll on the malfunction table for some inspiration. 15. Ruins. That gives a cool vibe. A desert with these scattered ruins everywhere. I think another roll in combination will really bring it to life, though. 34. Pre-seed life. That's a really cool combo. These ruins could be the remains of a pre-seed civilization that lived here before humans planted their terra seed. Part of exploring this planet could involve discovering what happened to the previous people, and perhaps realizing that whatever destroyed them is still a threat. Next, we decide on what kind of wildlife would live there. I think there might be giant bugs, like huge dung beetles, that maybe create balls of mold instead. It's important to write some animals that would be potential threats during this portion. So maybe some underground wasps would be a great fit. And then perhaps there's some pre seed pets that are still around, clinging to the ruins of their old masters. Many legged, many eyed lizards. They feed off of the mold and fungus on ruins, almost like filter feeders, but for a desert. Okay, civilization level. Let's go with populated, with a few major cities. This planet was probably colonized a while back. Okay, now we name the planet. Planets in Eden are often named after mythological locations or simple word combinations. How about Spore Sand? A name that the colonists probably had as a nickname that just kind of stuck. Finally, we draw a simple map of the planet. It doesn't need much, just simple imagery that might spark inspiration in the GM. It's also good for reference during play. Let's put some Great Lakes and a couple colonies. Now that we have our planet done, let's generate a mission that can take place here. First off, we roll to see how we're assigned the mission. 3 plus is a standard SEI assignment. Let's roll for the time of day. 2. Sunrise. Next, mission type. 1. Anomaly. So something weird, often adding new plot elements into the story. We roll for the enemy type that might be present. We don't need this to be the only enemy, but it can play a role. Okay, kaiju. This will be fun. Next, let's roll the twist. 1. Second mission. So near the end of this mission, a direct tie to a new mission will start. This can be a really great way to kind of push the limits of the pilots and see how much they can do. So let's roll up another mission that will follow this one right after. Assigned from a personal favor. Let's say it's someone the team meets during the first mission. Time? Sunset. This kind of implies that the first mission will go from sunrise to sunset, giving a sort of time pressure that we might incorporate into the first half. Mission type? Escort. This person wants to be brought somewhere on planet. Next, we roll for the enemy type. Rolling a 6 means we roll 2 more times. Anomaly creature and kaiju. So this anomaly creature is probably tied to the anomaly from the first half, and the kaiju is an easy carryover enemy. Twist. 6 means roll again. Another mission, and trouble on the sunflower. This is a great tie into the sunflower mission that we were going to generate anyways. Now all we have to do is generate that mission. So let's do that quickly. This one is also a personal favor during lights out period, so while most of the station is actually asleep. Rather than rolling a mission type on the sunflower, because regular missions don't take place there, we roll on a D66 themes table. This is mainly to get the brain flowing with ideas rather than strict plotting. Betrayal. I like that, but I think an additional theme could really create a more dynamic story. Pets. Sounds like someone's pet has turned on them. Let's roll some people who might be present: a plumber, a groom, and a stowaway. A stowaway in this context would be someone who is probably running from their duties as a colonist. So maybe they were assigned to be working on spore sand, but have been in hiding because they don't want to deal with all that. And just for fun, let's roll on a location table to see what key location might be present during this mission. An ice cream parlor. Awesome. Now that we have all these outlines, we can start making the full mission idea. Mission 1. Head to the colony on spore sand, who has reports of several people refusing to eat. The weirdest part is, they aren't starving or even really looking worse. Once there, through investigation, players will discover that doppelgangers are overtaking the colony. Doppelgangers in Eden are a collection of fungus that will kill and replace people. The players will need to figure out which survivors are doppelgangers and which are real colonists. Mission 2. Once the colonists have been separated from the doppelgangers, they'll request to be taken to the next nearest colony, where they can stay for now while their current place gets fixed. The exact details of this escort will be decided during map creation, but we know that kaiju will be involved. Mission 3. On delivery to the colony, someone present will state that their brother is sending distressed messages from aboard the Sunflower. Responding to this call will be the start of the third mission. The players will need to discover what is attacking the brother, as well as find him and ensure his safety. Since we rolled betrayal and pet, I'm thinking that this brother's pet has attacked him in the middle of the night. I'm recording pretty late, so I'll come back later to do the map making portion. In reality, this takes very little time. I actually use these tables in the middle of my home games, and the current mission I'm running involves a feud between two factions. They can be really great for generating on-the-fly conflicts and missions. But I'm slowing down and really thinking because I have the time to spare for this video.
Tomorrow.
Let's go ahead and start with the map for mission 1. Eden doesn't actually need maps at all, especially if you're creating a mission on the fly. Sometimes it's just easier to make stuff up rather than plan. But we do have time to use, so 3 maps it is. Map generation involves 3 steps: location and size, themes, and connections. First step, we drop a handful of dice onto a blank piece of paper. This determines both the size and location of our landmarks. It's fine to mess with the locations manually, the actual methods are all just there for inspiration. We'll mark these numbers down next to each location, determining the size of each landmark. 1 being individual things, all the way up to 6 being massive cities, mountains, or forests. Twice as many dice onto the map, putting them in pairs and associating them with the landmarks. These give our theme combos, sparks of inspiration for what we might find at the location. Following this table, we'll mark down each combo. Doubles create something more than usual. Now, we drop dice onto the map equal to the number of landmarks. Matching numbers create connections. Connections are things that link the locations together, giving a sense of cohesiveness to the map. One thing in one landmark might have a link to another. Keys from one area unlocking something else, people in one zone knowing people from another. We'll just draw a little symbol next to the matches to remind us that they should have some kind of connection. We can go ahead and start deciding on landmarks. In the middle here, I think this will be a bulk of where survivors are. A lonely cabin in the desert, using the size and themes. Over here to the left, we can put a sort of background set piece. 2 kaiju having a brawl. They might spot the pilots if they aren't being careful. Down in this corner, using these themes, I think this might make for a good spot to place the doppelganger origins, where they bury the bodies to replace colonists. I think that the link between these two locations might be that there's D6 bodies in this location with the same D6 people being replaced in the cabin. So if players go to the origin, they can discover who's been replaced. This spot at the bottom here might be a larger fungal forest. There might be some fungal creatures living here, pre-seed animals that have been infected by the fungus brought from the terra seed. On the right here, let's put some ruins. Pre-seed ruins that might include some clues of kaiju destruction as well as dead colonists. I think that maybe while the pilots were setting up and dropping down to the planet, the situation got worse, and kaiju started going on a rampage. Here we could have evidence of some dead colonists that were replaced early, maybe while they were out on a research assignment. And up here we could have some more of the colony, where kaiju and doppelgangers have destroyed buildings and survivors are dying. There could be smoke here to attract players, as well as wounded survivors and doppelgangers, meaning players need to determine who should be saved. Now we can draw paths to and from landmarks. We can cut some off to create sort of movement puzzle. We can put a ravine here, so if players want to sneak around the kaiju later, it'll be a challenge involving more active choices of going through the forest. Okay, awesome. We have the first map complete. Now I'll go ahead and make a map for the second mission, escorting the survivors to the left of this one into a new map to the nearby colony. I'll speed up the second map creation since you've just seen the first one and I don't want to bore you. So, players will enter here after passing by the kaiju on the previous page, either sneaking by or fighting them. They'll find dead colonists, as well as some doppelganger enemies here. The destination colony will be over here, where a particular glowing mushroom makes doppelgangers stay away. This location here has the possibility of players gaining a pet creature, adding the situation onto their pilot sheet. This research facility is completely overrun by doppelgangers. The players might want to deal with that, but they aren't actually aggressive here. Over here is a pre-seed ruined city. There'll be loot and possibly new weapons that the players could find if they go out of their way. Down here, there's a field of dead colonists, the people that the research facility doppelgangers have replaced. This might change the actions of what players do with that research base. Okay, nice. So once the survivors are delivered, someone at this new colony will tell the players that their brother on the Sunflower is sending distressed messages. His wedding is tomorrow, so they want you to go sort it out before the morning alarms go off. So let's go ahead and make the map for the Sunflower Station. Creating a map for a section of the Sunflower is similar to planet maps, but the tables are slightly different and connections become paths. So like before, we'll drop some dice onto a blank piece of paper and rearrange them a bit into a way that we like more. I think one more location in the center could be nice, so I'll add another die. Like before, we mark down the sizes. Sunflower landmarks use a slightly smaller scale than planetary landmarks, given the entire thing being indoors, but other than that, it's the same. Now we roll twice as many dice and group them into pairs, referring to this table to make the combos. Rather than themes, sunflower landmarks rely more on function. Sorry. Now we roll for paths. Dumping dice again, we link the closest landmarks based on what these D3 rolls tell us. Again, these are just prompts, so if the layout feels like it needs more paths, we can just add them in. No need to stress. We can start to add in what exactly these locations are. We need some hints as to what is attacking the brother, so let's place a broken doghouse over here. Here, they might be able to find the name of the dog and can possibly use that to solve the issue later. On the left, here we have tech and living as our themes, so maybe this could be some apartments that are currently getting renovated. The tech being the construction machines and tools. We can place the stowaway character here. Maybe he's ignoring his colony duties by hiding in the construction. We can also make him a witness, giving hints as to what might be wrong with this dog. He can mention how the dog was walking on walls and crawling on the ceiling. This center area, using the prompts, can be a colony resources storage room. Things like vehicles, housing units, stoves, fridges, generators. But let's make some of it damaged, with parts thrown around as if launched. Up here, we can have a locked closet where the plumber might be hiding. He might have been attacked by the dog in that storage room and is waiting, plunger in hand, to jump at it. Down here, we can have an ice cream stand. This can be where the dog actually is. Let's talk about this dog actually. What's wrong with it? The dog has caught something called gravity sickness. When exposed to artificial gravity for too long, some people, or dogs I guess, can develop an almost allergic reaction. They'll start to hallucinate as well as gain a personal ability to manipulate gravity at their will. Walking on walls, making objects move without touching them, stuff like that. The way to cure gravity sickness is to bring the patient to a planet and have them experience natural gravity. So let's add a room here where the players might be able to learn about gravity sickness and its cure, if they can stay out of trouble with this dog for long enough. Let's also add over here a room for the brother. Maybe he's in an empty storage room. This is where they might be keeping the groceries for that apartment construction once it's complete. Imagine that throughout this map, there are smaller buildings too, but they're either closed or unimportant for the story, so we can just leave them out on the map. But if players want to interact with, say, a cafe nearby, you can just put it into one of these empty areas and say that it's there. Awesome. We've created a 3-part, probably multi-session adventure using just these random generators. It was actually quite fun making this adventure. I might end up running it for people online or maybe just my friends at home. But let me know what you think. Do you know any other games that have this kind of mission generation or adventure generation, dungeon generation maybe? I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments and any other examples you have. Comment them down below. I try to respond to everyone. If you want to talk about or play Eden, I have a Discord server. I'll be running games there where you can play a custom character or a pre-gen and experience the game for yourself. Click the link in the description if you want to join. I'll see you there. I post here frequently about game design, storytelling, and Eden Left Behind, so subscribe if you're into that. And thanks for watching.